Girls, today you will be labeling and drawing on your map of ancient Greece. We're only going to do this map of Greece today, so you don't need the other one, and it's the one that looks like this that says ancient Greece at the bottom. The first thing that you are going to draw on your map of Greece is the Aegean Sea. It's this part that's between mainland Greece over here and Asia Minor over here. And it's a little bit hard to tell from this picture, but I went ahead and colored all the water that was in here blue. So if you've got colored pencils or crayons, I'd also like you to color the Aegean Sea blue. Be careful not to color the parts that are land. You can see I left that part white. Go ahead and color the Aegean Sea blue. And you can also add on the Ionian Sea over here on the other side of Greece. Eventually, all of this is going to be blue, so if you accidentally color in here, that's fine, because the next thing you're going to label is the Mediterranean Sea. So now you should have the Ionian Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Aegean Sea all colored blue, and you'll notice that they're all connected. All these waterways are connected. The Aegean Sea is specifically the part between mainland Greece here and Asia Minor over here, and it's where most of the small islands of Greece are found. I know it's a little bit hard to tell on my copy, but don't color the islands. Keep the islands white because those are land. But all of this I shaded in blue to show that it was water, including these parts up in here. That's also water. So the Aegean Sea, Ionian Sea, and Mediterranean Sea. The next two things that I would like you to add are Macedonia. It's this territory that is north of Greece, mainland Greece, and Asia Minor. I went ahead and shaded these two areas in like a yellow color. You can choose whichever color you'd like. I did like a yellowish gold for Asia Minor, and for Macedonia. You'll notice that I left these edges white because we're going to color that another color here in a minute. And I just kind of shaded this area here for Macedonia. We're going to learn about a man named Alexander the Great who was from Macedonia. Now we're looking at the land that is considered ancient Greece. And I colored everything that is part of ancient Greece in orange. So you can see all in this area is orange all along this coastline. The coastline is the part that's by the water. And you'll notice that the coastline of Asia Minor is also part of Greece. So be sure you color that. Be sure you color as many of these small islands as you can as well, because those were all part of ancient Greece. Next, I want you to add on here a label for these two peninsulas. The first peninsula where mainland Greece is located is called the Balkan Peninsula. And then this bottom part that looks like a hand is called the Peloponnesus. And the next thing is new information. We haven't talked about this yet, and it's very important. This land that's on the coastline of Asia Minor, or modern-day Turkey, in ancient times was called Ionian Greece. This is an important thing to label on our maps because in next week we're going to learn about a war that takes place because an empire called the Persian Empire attacks these city-states that were along the coastline here in Ionian Greece, and it causes a huge war called the Persian War between Greece and the Persians, and it's all because of this little strip of land here along the coastline. So be sure you label that because it's going to be important when we study that next week. Next, I want you to add on a few more important places. We have the city-state of Athens and the city-state of Sparta. Both of those were located on the Peloponnesus. There's another war that's going to happen called the Peloponnesian War that takes place between Athens and Sparta. And so we need to know that they were both located on the Peloponnesus. You're also going to go ahead and label the island of Crete. It's down here in the Mediterranean Sea. And the city-state of Troy, which is also it's an Ionian Greek city-state. Troy is important because there is a story. It's a legend. It's made up about a war that takes place between some city-states in mainland Greece and Troy, and it's called the Trojan War. And we'll talk more about that later. There's two epic stories written by a man named Homer called the Iliad and the Odyssey, and they have to do with this city-state of Troy. So be sure you add that on your map as well. Next, you need Mount Olympus. Mount Olympus is this little mountain located in the northern part of Greece here, and it's very important because Mount Olympus is where the Greeks believed their gods were from. Their gods were called the Olympians, and they believed that they lived atop Mount Olympus. The last thing I want you to do to your map is I want you to add some little triangles to mainland Greece to represent the mountainous terrain. I just kind of put them on here randomly. I didn't really put them in any kind of fashion, but I just put some little mountains in brown to represent that this land is rocky, that it's mountainous, because that's an important thing for us to remember about Greece's geography. Now what I'd like you to do is turn your paper over after you've had a chance to label everything, and we're going to take some notes. So everything that is in blue on this map equals water. So be sure that you know that. Anything that you colored blue represents the water. And everything that's in orange represents Greece. Notice how parts are on the mainland in Greece. Some parts of Greece that are in orange are islands. We looked at those in the Aegean Sea. And some parts that are colored orange are on Asia Minor's coast, and we called that Ionian Greece. You should also notice how Greece has mountainous terrain. We looked at both of these words, mountainous and terrain. Terrain means land. Mountainous means the land has mountains. And the mountainous terrain kept city-states in Greece isolated. They were isolated from each other. So they used the water, the sea around them, as a resource for several things. They used it as a resource for trade, travel, and colonization. Colonization is when you take over other lands and set up settlements to use their resources. So because Greece had limited resources that they could use for food, remember, the main foods that they could grow were grapes and olives. Because of that, they would set up colonies around the Mediterranean area, around the Mediterranean Sea, and they would use those colonies to give them resources that they needed. And the way that they get those places is by boat, in the water, in the sea. So I added to my map in the water, in the ocean or the sea, a little boat to show you that they're going to trade, travel, and colonize through the water. You don't have to add a boat to yours, but I thought that was a neat reminder. So be sure you take a look at this map. Be sure you got everything filled in. And we will talk about these and look at these together tomorrow.